This time around, Motorola has gone with two variants of the Moto X, the Moto X Play and the Moto X Style, or Pure as it's known in the United States. Today in this video, let's take a look at the one that's priced lower, the Moto X Play. Let's take a close look at this offering from Motorola and see if it's worth your attention. But before we do, if this is your first time here or in case you just can't recall, my name's Ash, this is C4E Tech and you're watching my full review of the Motorola Moto X Play. Let's get started. As always, let's start with the build. We have the power button and the volume rockers to the right. Up top, we have the 3.5mm headphone jack and a slot. Here's where you pop in dual nano SIM cards and the microSD card goes to the back of the tray. We have nothing to the left and the micro USB port can be found at the bottom. Note that there's support for USB OTG here. You do have to install a free file manager like ES File Explorer though. To the front, on top, we have the sensors, earpiece and a 5-megapixel front-facing camera. Below that, we have a 5.5-inch display and the single front-facing speaker resides at the bottom. The X-Play does not have a notification LED since it uses Motorola's Motor Display tech. To the back, we have a 21-megapixel rear camera with a dual LED flash followed by the Moto Dimple. The secondary noise-cancelling microphone can be found at the bottom. The back is user removable, but the 3630 mAh battery underneath isn't. Motorola should be selling back cover replacements in the future to help you customize the look and feel of your device. Talking about the feel, the X-Play doesn't feel heavy, though it weighs in at about 170 grams. The weight seems evenly spread, and that curved back like with other Motorola phones does help hide that almost 11mm thickness. Despite the 5.5-inch display, the form factor is also quite compact. If you have average or large-sized hands, you could get away using this phone single-handed at most times. It's worth noting that the X-Play also has a water-repellent nano coating and is IP52 certified, so it should survive rain and most accidental splashes. You cannot dunk it in water though. Anyway, the Moto X-Play sports a Gorilla Glass covered 5.5-inch IPS LCD display with a full HD resolution. To those keeping count, that's 403 pixels per inch. This display is sharp, has decent viewing angles, and is quite color accurate to begin with. On top of that, Motorola has also provided an option to tone it down to more natural levels if you so required. This display can also get bright enough so as to not pose issues outdoors. Now underneath the hood, the Moto X Play is powered by the 64-bit Snapdragon 615 chip. That's two sets of 4 Cortex A53 cores with one set clocked at 1.7 GHz and the other at 1 GHz each. These are coupled with an Adreno 405 GPU and 2 gigs of RAM. The 615 chip's infamous for its overheating issues, but thankfully, even with intensive gaming, the X-Play didn't get too hot. By the way, most games ran smooth here. Do note that the X-Play did drop a few frames with some intensive titles, but that was rather the exception than the norm. More often than not, the performance was decent. The audio via the single front-facing speaker was loud and clear. The call quality with the X-Play was excellent. The audio via earphones wasn't too bad either. Now let's get to the one area that's been the bane of Motorola's existence for the past two generations. The camera. The X-Play sports a 21-megapixel rear and 5-megapixel front camera combo. The 5-megapixel front shooter performs adequately, nothing special, gets the job done. The 21-megapixel rear camera is also quite decent. It nails colors and exposure, there's ample levels of detail as well. This camera does struggle a little when it comes to macro shots, even when compared to its lower priced sibling, the third generation Moto G. But that being said, it does perform well overall, even under artificial or low light scenarios. This camera can also shoot 1080p videos and they turned out surprisingly stable. Minor dynamic range issues apart, this was solid 1080p footage. The X-Play uses Motorola's own camera app. It's quite minimalistic and easy to use. Swipe from the left to access various modes. Swipe from the right to access the pics that you've shot. You can also turn on a ring to adjust exposure and focus. Tapping anywhere on the viewfinder snaps a picture. Like I mentioned earlier, the Moto X Play is powered by a 3630 mAh non-user replaceable battery and the battery life was very good. With my regular kind of usage that involves about an hour of casual gaming, 3G and Wi-Fi on all day, a lot of mails and checking social media, quite a lot, meaning getting a lot of push notifications. Add to that a few hours of calls, and the Moto X Play got me through a day with enough left in the tank more often than not. I got about 4 hours of screen on time. On a looping video playback test, this phone lasted almost 10 hours before running out of juice. The idle battery drain was also very low. With regards to user experience, the Moto X Play runs on an almost stock build of Android 5.1 Lollipop with just a few Moto tweaks on top. If you've been following Motorola phones for a while, these would immediately be familiar to you. As far as preloaded apps go, we have the Flipkart app and the regular Motorola apps like Migrate, Connect, and Moto. The Moto app's home to some cool Motorola functionality. Assist lets you automate some stuff like turning your phone silent at certain times of the day or when you're at a particular location. Voice is basically where you set up your voice commands for touchless access to your X-Play. Then we have display. Whenever you pick your X-Play up or if you get a notification, the display activates to show you that. While more effective on an AMOLED display, it's still a nice feature. I don't think I ever hit the power key to turn my display on with the X-Play. The Moto display feature just works. Finally, we get gestures. Surprisingly, the chop to turn on the flashlight, a gesture found on the 3rd generation Moto G, is missing here. Weird. Anyway, you can double twist to launch the camera, and that's a feature I found myself using a lot. The user experience on the X-Play is pretty good for the most part. Apps opened up quick without lag. Multitasking was also good. Do keep in mind the X-Play does sport a mid-end chip inside, so there's bound to be the occasional stutter or lag. It wasn't bad enough to be labeled as an issue, but it was there nonetheless. So anyway, with that being said, let's talk price. The Moto X-Play is priced between 300 to 400 US dollars, 18,500 rupees for the 16 gig variant and 20,000 rupees for the 32 gig variant here in India. For this price, the X-Play delivers decent performance all around. Does it have a few cons? Yes, but then again, Motorola isn't charging a premium here, not really. So as long as you don't go in expecting a Motorola flagship, say a successor to last year's Moto X, you should be happy with the Moto X Play. So there you have it, my 2 cents on the Motorola Moto X Play. Do you agree with my conclusion? If not, what's the alternative that you'd choose? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. So I guess that's it for now. If you liked the video, if you found it useful, do give it a thumbs up. And for more videos like this, do hit that subscribe button down below. If you do want to pick up a Moto X Play, I'll leave direct links in the description below. Please use that if you want to help the channel out. Till next time, this is Ash here from C4E Tech signing off. You guys have a great day. Bye bye now.